So to create your surreal collage, what you want to do first of all is open up the image that you're going to use. And then what we're going to do is to use different techniques to select and delete one of the figures in the picture. So you can use the quick selection tool to select bulk areas, but it's just guessing where you want to select, and if there's a section that looks too similar to the other section next to it, then it might select too much. So if you use the lasso tool and hold down Alt or Shift, it'll add or take away the sections within the selection. Then once you've got the area that you like, you just press delete. You can also use the polygon lasso tool if you want to, or just draw around the areas with the lasso tool. Just keep going. What you can also do is to use the eraser tool just to rub areas out, smooth off that edge. What you can also do if you're going to do that instead of using the lasso tool is you can mask the area by clicking that little flag button at the bottom. And if you have the colour tool on the white section, when you're using the eraser and you clicked on the mask, then you can rub areas out. But what is really good about the mask tool is that as soon as you flip it back to the black, like so, you can add areas back in. Whereas if you're just using the rubber tool without the mask, you can't do that. That's a good thing to know if you're wanting to just use the rubber tool and not the lasso tool. What I do now is I just open up the same image again, because I've realised there's a bit that I've rubbed out way before. So I just drag that layer into the other layer, and what I'm going to do is just rub out the majority of the image, because I'd rubbed out a bit of the coat by accident, so I just want to rub everything out apart from a bit of the coat. And then what you can also do, so not to confuse it, is I just merge the two layers together now. So if you notice this bit here, so before I did that it was missing, and then by doing that whole process I've just added it back in, and then what I've done is I've just clicked on both the layers and merged them together, so that's just one image now. Then what you want to do is to get the kind of image that you're going to put below. So to make a direct artist response, I'm going to use Galaxy, and make sure that you choose a large image. I'll show you in a second what a bad image looks like. So if you use the tools section and the size, make it large, then all of these images should be big enough to not be pixelated when you enlarge them. So just save those images in a place that you know where they're going to be and they're easily accessible. And then you're just going to open them in Photoshop. And they will open in new tabs at the top. So what you need to do is to click on the layer and drag it up into the original image for both. And then what you can do, so not to confuse yourself, is just click on these little eye buttons so that you can't see them anymore. If you go to edit, free transform, then you can enlarge those images. See, this is not really good enough, so I deleted that one because it was a bit pixelated. So same process again, but with a better image. drag it into the original image and just change the size of that image or move it around to where I want it to go. And this is where if you had multiple images you wanted to experiment with, you could just save that as a JPEG, save that as a JPEG. That'd be 2 experiments. Then all I'm doing is just overlapping them. So I'm changing the opacity of one of them, making them really faint. So just experiment with the layout of that until you get the composition that you want. And then once you're happy, you're going to save that as a JPEG. And you might want to save the file at this point as well as a Photoshop file. But I'm just going to edit it further, so I'm just going to save that as a Photoshop file. So the further, I've got one document saved as it was, and I'm going to further edit it now, and I'll have another document with the further editing involved. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of the background so it's black, so it's similar to the artist style. And again, there's several ways you can do this. So you could just select the figures, then go to inverse and delete that background, or fill it in with black using the brush tool, making it really large and making it be the colour black, obviously. If you've selected an area and then you're wanting to colour it in, use the brush tool in a selected area, it will only fill that section in. And go to select, deselect to get rid of that selection. And then I'm just going to use the brush tool. Different sizes, obviously, the more detailed an area is, the smaller you want your brush to be. And you can zoom in, make that brush tool smaller and get a more accurate selection. You can also use the polygon selection tool to select an area that you want to fill. And then again save that as a JPEG and a Photoshop file.